Hi everyone, today's lesson is lesson 12.8 and it is a problem solving lesson on classifying plane shapes. So as always, up here it says copy of lesson 12.8. So you're going to change that to say your name. And then down here you can change that to say your name as well and just make sure to share it with your teachers. So to start off, we have a do now. So just take about 5 minutes to just answer these questions. The first question is name a figure that has more than one right angle. So please name at least one figure, but if you can think of more than one figure that has a right angle, then do that. So you could just click here and type your answer. And then this one as well, it says, what does a Venn diagram help you do? So just click, highlight, and then type your answer down there. So just take about 5 minutes to answer this do now, and then we can go on with the lesson. So this whole lesson is going to be on Venn diagrams. So a Venn diagram shows how sets of things are related. In the Venn diagram at the right, one circle has shapes that are rectangles, as we see here. The other shapes that are rhombuses are in the other circle, so here. And the shapes in the section where the circles overlap are both rectangles and rhombuses. So these shapes right here are both rectangles and rhombuses. So it's asking what type of quadrilateral is in both circles. So now we're going to be unlocking this problem and pulling out all the information that we need. So first off, what do I need to find? So we have to ask ourselves, what are we being asked? So if we go back to here, it says what type of quadrilateral is in both circles. So that's what we're going to write. Second, it says, what information do I need to use? So we need to think back and look back at that Venn diagram and say, what are we using? We're using, well, the Venn diagram for sure, and we're using the circles that are labeled rectangles and rhombuses. So for this one, we're going to say the circles labeled rectangles and rhombuses. So next it says, how will I use this information? How are we going to be using the information that's given to us to try to solve the problem? Well, what are we going to be doing? So we're looking at this Venn diagram, so we need to try and figure out what shape this is in the middle. So we are going to be, we could say, I will be describing the shapes in the section where the circles overlap. And what are we going to be describing them by? Their color. What are we going to be describing them by? Their size, their shape. So we could say by their sides and angles, because that's how we identify shapes. So I can name the shape. So it says, how will I use this information? I will be describing the shapes in the section where the circles overlap by their sides and angles, so I can name the shape. Okay, so now let's get into it. Let's try to solve this problem. So what is true about all quadrilaterals? What do we know? Well, we know quadrilaterals, they all have how many sides and how many angles? 4. So 4 sides and 4 angles. Which quadrilaterals always have 2 pairs of opposite sides that are parallel? Which would we know? Well, we know rectangles. What else? We know squares And what's one more? Well, if we look at this, two pairs of opposite sides that are parallel. Well, these all look like they're parallel, right? So we could also say rhombuses. Which quadrilaterals always have four sides of equal length? Well, like we just said, we know that the rhombuses do. And what's another one? What's another shape that we know all the sides are equal? Square, right? So we could write squares. Next, we have which quadrilaterals always have four right angles? Four right angles. Well, if we look at here, we see, well, we know rectangles do. So we can write rectangles. And what else? Well, we also know squares. Next, it says the quadrilaterals in the section where the circles overlap always have blank pairs of opposite sides that are parallel. So if we look at the shapes, how many sides? Two pairs, so four sides that are parallel. Blank sides of equal length, how many are equal? Well, we can just see by looking at it that how many sides are equal? Four. And blank right angles. How many right angles do we see? So we see one, two, three, four. Four right angles. So we're just going to be highlighting four right angles. So in conclusion, what shape do we know is in the middle of these two circles? So what shape is this? It is a square. So squares are in both circles. As you can see, all the sides are equal length. They have four right angles. So that means that these shapes are a square. So that was a very descriptive way on how we can take steps in order to solve these problems. But if you feel as though you feel more confident, then maybe that will help you in the next few problems. So now it says move the shapes into their correct circle or the middle. So it says polygons with right angles, polygons with all sides equal in length, and then the middle. So you're going to be touching, dragging over wherever you think it goes for all of these shapes. Next, we have looking back at the Venn diagram on slide 5. So you need this Venn diagram to answer this question. So it says, where would you place this shape on the Venn diagram? Now we look at this shape, try to see the different aspects of it, the sides, the angles, and then decide which circle would it fall under, or would it fall under the middle. And now down here there's a little box. So this is just to check to see who watched the video. So I just want you to put your initials. So that right here, just click on this box and type in your initials and then just click out of it just to keep it there. So now just to answer this question, you're going to type here and answer. So now lastly, we're just going to do a little chapter review of these 4 questions. So first it says, how many angles greater than a right angle does this triangle have? Click here to type your answer. How many sides of equal length does this triangle appear to have? Click here to type your answer. Madison drew this shape. How many angles less than a right angle? Less than, that's key. Less than a right angle does it have? Click here, highlight and type your answer. And then lastly, it says how many dots are in half of this group. So you're going to have to figure out how many are in the total and then how many are in half of the group. And then once again, click here and type your answer. Thank you so much for watching these videos, and I really hope you enjoyed this whole unit on geometry.